Hey guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with more crazy HOA, Neighbors from Hell and entitled people stories. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled, HOA took control of my property and claimed they own it while I was abroad. I was given an amazing opportunity at work where I could spend an entire year abroad. Almost everyone in the company applied for this thing and I got it over everyone else. I was over the moon about it and accepted before I started my journey across the Atlantic. Of course, the one thing that I needed to make sure was going to be okay while I was gone was my house. I was only going for a year, so selling it would have been a crazy idea. Besides that, one of the perks of the year of work abroad was that the company was actually paying for my living expenses there. I could just continue to pay my monthly mortgage online and hire people for the general upkeep. It was supposed to be a great plan. While I was gone though, a bunch of things happened that I didn't get to know about for the entire year. I'm going to tell you the things as they happened across that year instead of how I found it all out within a couple of days of moving back. It turned out that once I left and the HOA got wind of it, they were very excited about the potentially empty house. This was a horrible HOA that liked everything from the length of your grass to the placement of your mailbox to be just as they wanted. It is really annoying, but to avoid conflict, I just tried to maintain things how they asked and stay out of their way. The person that I hired to mow my lawn, I guess, decided since I was not there, he did not really need to come every month since I was paying him without being able to even see the lawn. My guess was as he was going to only take care of the lawn for a few months before I came back and then get paid for the entire year. A much shorter side story could honestly be written about this guy and how he tried to manipulate the fact that I was not there. Without the maintenance of my lawn, the HOA went crazy and started shoving fines in my mailbox. I have no idea why they were doing this and trying to contact me like this. Even when I got back, they admitted to knowing that I was gone for the entire year. That was the first sign to me that something was really suspicious. They knowingly tried to contact me in a way that would not work and then kept fining me more and more. Again, I did not know all of this until way later when I actually had to get my mail from the post office because when I got home, it was just crazy. Anyway, after a while of me receiving these fines I didn't know about and not paying them, the HOA decided to go one step further. They put a lien on my house despite not having any right to do so. At least in my neighborhood, the HOA can give fines and at the worst take you to court to get their money. I had been paying my monthly mortgage still, and the bank seemed to have no idea what the HOA was doing with my house. All of my things that I left were removed and put in a storage facility, all of which they told me with another letter being sent in the house that I clearly was not living in. This is around the time of the story that I got home from my wonderful year abroad to see the mess that was unfolding. The shock when I get out of my cab and try to open my door, only to find that my locks don't work. Then to notice on my lawn that there is a sign stating the house is for sale. I had no clue what to do and it was about 2 in the morning with me not knowing what to do. I was lucky enough to have a friend that was still awake and let me sleep on his couch until I could get things figured out. I honestly thought the bank did it and planned to make it my first stop. When I learned they had no idea my house was up for sale, I had started asking around if anybody knew anything. Of course, that was when I found the head of the HOA and they told me the entire story of the fines and putting a lien on my house. She said it so nonchalantly too, like it was no big deal, that she just tried to steal my home and sell it for what I assume would be personal profit. I told her that she had no right to try and sell my home, and that was when she hit me with the most insulting thing so far. She told me that if I was not going to be around to take care of my house and property, then the HOA legally owned it and could do what they wanted with it. I have no idea what this lady was on, I just knew that I needed a lawyer and I needed one like yesterday. I found one who basically told me what I already knew about the property being mine and the HOA having no claim to it. The only thing they were allowed to do was take me to court for the fines, in which they would learn of my absence and be able to contact me abroad. It was way too late for that though, so I was going to sue them for every last penny I could get away with. I mean, I don't know much about law, but I feel like stealing an entire house is kind of a big deal. Until it was dealt with though, they could not sell the house, but I also could not go and live in it again yet. Biggest shout out to my friend who let me stay with him while all of this went down. That guy is getting tacos on me for the rest of his life. When we finally got to speak to a judge about all of this, I was ready with my lawyer and all the paperwork that showed I never missed a payment on my house, as well as proof that I was abroad and unaware of anything happening until I got back and saw my home for sale. I am good at reading people and could tell that the judge was angry, but trying not to really let it show. The HOA lawyer tried to claim that what they did was for the good of the neighborhood and an unmaintained property can be assumed abandoned and resold. Nobody was buying that story though. In the end, I was going to get my money back for all of the mortgage I paid on the house, while they were reaping the benefit of trying to sell it, as well as pain and suffering, moving expenses, and of course every single fine they gave me was thrown out. In the end, I got $475,000 that the HOA lost to me, and I got to get my life back on track again. It was a pain moving all of my stuff back in, but I was mainly just happy to have my house back. If anybody knows the feeling of getting to come back home after a long vacation, imagine that lasting almost a year and a half. It really was the thing that calmed me down so much I stopped caring about the HOA. Besides, losing that much money really hurt them, and while they still exist in name, I don't think there is anybody running it anymore. The funds just are not there, and when there is no money incentive, suddenly the very concerned citizens don't seem to care anymore. And for anyone wondering, yes, I gave my wonderful friend some of that money to count for rent while I was living with him. I was not going to give him only tacos after all he did for me. The moral of the story is, if you can take a trip abroad for a year, I highly recommend it. Maybe just have a person keeping an eye out on your home while you are gone. And yeah, Ripe Stars, time and time again, these stories remind us that living in an HOA can be extremely dangerous, especially if you go abroad or something and cannot take care of your home anymore. Honestly, if I would live in a crazy HOA, I would even be scared to go on like a 1-week holiday trip or something. You might come back home and find that they put a lien on your house. Either way, if you still enjoy the HOA and crazy neighbor stories, then I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe even like the video if you enjoy my content. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one is titled, Should Not Have Littered. My now ex-neighbor was pretty trashy. Car sitting on blocks in the yard, cigarette hanging out of her mouth while she is 9 months pregnant, blasting Kid Rock tunes level trashy. Well, this lady decided that paying $1 per trash bag was just too much. Our township will only pick up your trash if it is in one of the approved purple bags though. So normal trash bags will just be left behind, the trash truck drives right past them. Her solution? Buy normal trash bags at the dollar store and have her 8-year-old child toss them over the fence into my yard. Now their trash is my problem. After confronting her, she just laughed. So then I called the cops. They said that since the kid was so young and there was no proof his parents told him to do it, there was nothing they could do. So this went on for about 4 months. Me taking the bags of trash they toss into my yard, wrapping them in purple bags that I paid out of pocket for, and putting them out to the curb. Pretty annoying. Not to mention the extra $3 or so a week I am spending on trash bags. I am slowly growing to hate this woman. It was annoying at first, but I was getting mad. Mind you, I own my own home and she was renting hers. So I get a hold of their landlord and I offer to buy the house for a decent amount above market value, roughly 17%. He jumps at the offer and soon I am the proud owner of the house next door to me. Sure, it cost me $71,000, but what price do you put on peace of mind? The very first thing I did was serve them an eviction notice in person across that same fence they like to throw trash over. That was 31 days ago. As of today, the unit is empty. I don't know where they went, but they are someone else's problem now. And that is all because she did not want to pay for her own trash bags. I think I'm going to knock that house down and make my yard bigger. I've been wanting to put in a handball court. And yeah, obviously guys, this is the kind of revenge that you can only participate in if you are rich. Imagine just getting rid of an annoying, awful neighbor by simply buying the house he or she is living in. That is seriously just next level. The next one is titled, I Will Destroy Your Life. Backstory, I am part of a small family-owned type used car dealership. Cue used car salesman joke here. We have maybe 50 cars on the lot at any time, and our main business is subprime, or people with less than perfect credit. We truly want to help the people that cannot afford and have the credit to buy from a new car dealership. We are actually very liked in our small community, so recently I had these customers, let's call her wife and him husband. They are early 20s. They come into my store and I like them. They seem like a nice young couple trying to start their lives out. They have 2 very sweet girls and could just use a break. They have made some mistakes in their early lives and have less than perfect credit. I coached them on how to improve their credit and they seem sincerely interested in fixing it, so I bust my ass to get them a loan with the wife's mother, co-signing on a nice 3rd-row SUV. The wife is literally crying, hugging me, because every other dealer turned them down. Now they are a little short on the down payment, so I take a check for the balance and we agree I will cash it on his next payday, which is mistake number 1, but pretty common in this line of work. I forget about them until the next week when I drop the check at the bank along with other deposits. The next thing I know is I receive a notice that the check has bounced, along with a couple NSF fees attached for me, and the check comes back. It's a dollar amount that is considered a first-degree misdemeanor in our state, just under a felony. I reached out to my wife to see what happened and how we can make arrangements to get this taken care of. The last thing I want to do is go after a young couple with 2 small kids. At first the wife was a little shocked and insists the funds were pulled from their account, and I show them the picture of the NSF check. She understands and says they can pay half in 2 weeks, and when she's paid again, and in another 2 weeks pay the other half. I agreed to this and just take them on their word, which was mistake number 2. A couple weeks roll around and I don't hear from the wife or her husband, and I am now thinking I've been taken for a ride, ignoring my calls, texts, etc. You get the point. I get a call from the bank and come to find out they have not made their first payment either. Now, with this particular bank, if the customer does not make their first payment, we have to buy back the deal. Basically, we have to give the bank the money they sent us for the loan. After blowing up their phones and Facebook, they finally call me back. I get the sob story. He got let go from his job and he just started a new one, and mom is going to help them get back on their feet. I go through hell and high water with the bank to make a deal that if they make their payment they will keep the loan, but I am still on the hook if they miss any of the next 3 payments. Wife also tells me they will make payments to me on the bounced check once he starts getting paychecks. So I agree, they make their payment to the bank and I go about my life until the next month comes around. I get an email from the bank saying the wife did not make the next month's payment and won't answer their calls. At this point I am furious and ready to just go get their vehicle. They won't answer any of my calls and call mom. Mom scrounges everything in her social security paycheck to help try to make the payment for them and is still short. Wife and husband tells her they will cover the balance and of course don't pay. Bank says deal is a buyback, we need our money back for the loan within 7 days. Now the only way I can pay back their loan is if my floor plan, basically giant credit card we buy cars on, gets pictures of the car in my possession. I try to call, text, email, message on Facebook to get a hold of both wife and husband, and they block me on everything. They are basically just stealing the vehicle without paying. They even blocked mom, who has been trying to help them get this handled, and yes, they screwed over their own mother in this ordeal. I just want the vehicle back and move on with life. So this is where I go pro-revenge on them. I begin by dropping the check off at the local prosecutor and they are delighted to file charges against them. I do some skip tracing calling family members, all of which are more than happy to help because come to find out, husband has had 7 jobs in 4 months and has burned every single family member with money they have borrowed. I find the wife's father on Facebook. Father has been trying to take custody of deadbeat wife and husband's 2 kids because of how they treat them. He informs me they are staying in sister's house right over the border. We are on the state line of 2 states, remember this. I call up a repo company and even myself drive the hour to go get the vehicle. They had been hiding it in the garage according to neighbors and repo company. I do some researching and find out they are both on probation for stealing a bunch of stuff from multiple stores. So I of course find and call up Mrs. Probation Officer to see if she has a last known address. I then mentioned to her that they are staying above the state line and bounced a very large check to me and they are facing fresh charges in my town and she appreciates the knowledge. Now, while I was up at their house one evening, I talked to one of the neighbors who also hate them because they are always yelling at their kids and each other and convinced neighbor to call me if they see the vehicle outside. It took one day, I get the call, I sent a very large friend who lives nearby them to go get the vehicle. After many expletives berating my friend, they hand over the vehicle. However, not before finally calling me while he was there and telling me how they are going to sue me, etc. I am out quite a bit of money from the whole ordeal, but here's the best part. I just found out by living out of state they violated probation and just got sentenced to 30 days in jail from that, and they also just had their video court date, because they are currently in jail with the probation violation, with the local judge on the new charges of the bounced check. I got my vehicle back and guess what? Deadbeat wife's father got custody of the 2 kids.
Whenever I come back home, there's someone that's very excited to see me. Who is that? Oh, the Disney. That is the Disney. Oh, the little fluffy Cuddle Monster house cat. You're my Disney. They're actually in Thai English, we don't really say Disney, we say like Disney. Either way, she's so cute. Right, Disney. What is Disney doing today? Disney wanna go to my room because she know I got a little bit more work to do. I think that's fine. Maybe. Really good, Disney. See, it's not a fat cat. Disney is still agile. Now need to lick first. Right, Disney? You see, she gave the community a kiss. That were, I think those were Disney's last words for the YouTube community. And yeah guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.
And ripe stars, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you still cannot get enough of my content, then I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will soon show up in the left corner of the screen. In addition, I would really appreciate it if you could not only subscribe to the channel, but also turn on the bell notifications, which you can do by clicking on the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. This will help my channel tremendously, and this will make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. Furthermore, if you want to see additional ripe content that I don't post on YouTube, then I would suggest to head on over to patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive videos that you will not see anywhere else. Thank you so much for your amazing daily support, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.